Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've picked up a lot of comic books over the last week or so. This big stack right over here, it's going to be a mix of issues and graphic novels. Lots of Marvel and lots of DC, so let's go ahead and get started. So issue number 1, I got Non-Stop Spider-Man. Now this one's been getting some mixed reviews, but I enjoyed it and I will be getting the full run. Then we've got DC Infinite Frontier, which is the next big DC event. This is issue number 0, so the very beginning of it all. I'm super excited to see where DC goes with this, and this was a pretty solid issue. Next up is Crime Syndicate. Now this is basically the evil version of the Justice League. This is issue number 1 of 6 and I really enjoyed it. It's really interesting and the first issue was pretty good. Next up is Future State Shazam issue number 1. I really like the cover art of this one. Shazam is one of the most underrated characters in DC in my opinion, and I'm glad he's finally getting some of the respect he deserves. You know, they gave him a movie, some new comic book runs, and I'm really excited for this character going forward. I think he's going to be a big household name in the years to come. And the first issue here was decent, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Next up is Joker number 1. Now this one was a hidden gem. I didn't think it was going to be amazing or anything, but it was actually really good. One of my favorite issues that I actually picked up. Essentially what this issue is all about is James Gordon is going to go on a mission hunting down the Joker, which already sounds cool, and if you guys are interested, I definitely recommend to read it. Then I got the all new Batman issue 1 and 2. This is where Tim Fox takes over the Batman mantle. It's placed a few years in the future too, and it's actually a really good story, and it connects with a lot of the Batman family, which is also a really cool aspect, especially because like the leader of the Batman family is a totally different character. Now these guys are oversized issues, so they're going to cost a little bit more, and these issues are going to be longer with some tie-ins. Like Batman number 1 has the Outsiders and the Arkham Knights, and then issue 2 has tie-ins to Batgirl and the Gotham City Sirens, and so far I'm really liking the all-new Batman, and I'll probably be picking up the whole run. Then I got Superman of Metropolis, so this one is Jonathan Kent basically being Superman, and to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of this one. I don't think I'll be getting issue 2 or 3 or anything else. It just wasn't a really strong story, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I'm not going to spoil anything in it, but if you guys have read it, let me know down below if you guys enjoyed it or not. Next up is Suicide Squad number 1, the first issue of Future State, and I gotta say I wasn't a huge fan of this one either. Amanda Waller basically assembled a Justice League made out of the villains and calls them the Justice Squad, and I gotta say I wasn't a huge fan of it. There was some good moments, the artwork is pretty good, but I don't think I'll be picking up the whole run. Hopefully it changes and it becomes really good and I can pick up the graphic novel, but for now I'm not really super satisfied with it and I won't be picking up the other issues. Then I got Nightwing 1 and 2 from Future State, and I gotta say I am a huge fan of the Nightwing series so far. The story's really good, the artwork is really good, it connects to the all-new Batman, and I'm just a big fan of this. I wasn't expecting to like Nightwing as much as I am, and I will 100% be picking up the whole run. Then the last issues that I picked up is Flash 1 and 2 from Future State. This is also another series that I'm a big fan of. Wally West is being possessed by an entity. Barry and the other speedsters actually don't have their speed powers, and they have to try and take down Wally, and so far it's been pretty good. I'm a big fan of the artwork in the Flash comics right now. In issue number 1, that's the cover, it looks pretty good, and then issue number 2. This one I definitely recommend to read as well, especially if you are a big Flash fan. I would say if you guys are new to Future State and you want a couple of titles that I recommend, so far I would say All New Batman, Flash, and Nightwing are probably my top 3 regarding DC Future State, and so far I'm pretty excited by them. Now on to some graphic novels. So book number 1, I got Thanos Rising. I wanted to dive a little deeper into the whole Thanos story in the Marvel Universe, and this was one that was recommended on a ton of websites to read. This is all about Thanos' origin, and I'm super excited to read this one. Then I got Arkham Knight Genesis. I actually got this at the dollar store for $4. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham video games, and I've always wanted to read more of the actual comics based off of the games, and this is going to be a good starting point, and then I'll probably be picking up the other ones. Then I got What If Infinity. So this book is about Thanos joining the Avengers to fight a war against the Builders. Now this should be super interesting because obviously Thanos is a big bad guy, and it's really interesting to think of him fighting alongside the Avengers, so that's why I picked this one up. Then I got Uncanny X-Men Fear Itself. Now I've heard some mixed reviews on the Fear Itself story, but I did want to read some more X-Men, so I saw this book at the dollar store and I was like, hey, for $4 I'll give it a try, and then hey, if I like it I can get the other Fear Itself graphic novels, but I'm hoping this one is a good read. This is also another dollar store pickup here. This one was $4. This is Flashpoint Convergence Book 2. I love the cover art. I'm a big fan of how that looks. I do want to collect the whole Convergence run, so getting book 2 at a discount is always a plus, and I will be reading the whole Convergence series very soon. Next up is Old Man Hawkeye. Now, I loved Old Man Logan. Great comic book, and another character that I was surprisingly interested by was Old Man Hawkeye. So when I saw this book at Chapters, I was like, I need to get this. And this is actually a really highly rated comic, and I'm super excited to read more about Hawkeye. He's one of those characters that's in a ton of Marvel stuff, but I just don't own anything Hawkeye. So I was like, this looks interesting. It's got good reviews. Let's give it a try. Next up is Superior Iron Man Volume 2. I actually found Volume 1 for I think $3 or $4 at the dollar store. I really liked it, so then I found Volume 2 at my local comic book store. Great story and highly recommend it. Next up is Death of Superman. Now this one doesn't need an introduction. This is one of the most famous comic book stories of all time. It's when Superman dies, just like the title says, and I found it for I think $9 at my local comic book store, and I can't wait to collect the whole death and revival of Superman story and just sit down and read the whole thing. Next up, I got Batman Battle for the Cowl. It's essentially the Bat family fighting over who gets the cowl and gets to become the successor of Batman. Now, as soon as I read that on the back, I was like, I need to read this. It's also got really good reviews, so it should be a good time. Last but not least, we got the Joker War Saga. I've heard great things about Joker War, and I had to get this. The cover looks really, really good, and I am so excited to read this one. This has been on my list for a little while now, and when the first issues were coming out, I missed the opportunity to actually read them, but now seeing all of the reviews for the book, I cannot wait to just sit down with a coffee for a few hours and read this thing. This guy retails for $40 US, and it's gonna be a good time. I'm already predicting it. So guys, lots of new comics to read. This year I'm going to immerse myself even further into comic books, and these all look like they're going to be some great reads, so I can't wait. Leave a comment down below of some series that you recommend me to read. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll probably be making something like this every week or every 2 weeks. I normally go to my local comic shop once a week on Wednesday, which is New Comic Book Day, so these videos are probably going to be coming out weekly or bi-weekly depending on the amount of stuff that I find. But like I said, this is going to be a great time just sitting down and reading all of these stories. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.